I've been corresponding with a fellow who's a shopsmith owner for the last several days, back and forth, about how to adjust his saw lower guard, upper guard assembly so that the splitter is centered over the blade. I think he's getting frustrated, and I can understand that, so I thought I'd put together this quick video. Be warned, this is terrible quality. I haven't had a chance to edit it. I didn't use a tripod, so have a look. Now this may be a better shot of it so you can understand that relationship. Again, we've got the upper guard here. It is attached to the lower guard here, and then of course we have our saw blade mounted. All right, I put it over the top again, the upper guard over the top. Again, I want to just point out how this is supposed to work. The splitter that you see here needs to be centered over the blade. Otherwise, when you go to cut a piece of wood, if it's not centered, it's going to hang up on that. And unfortunately, what happens, if people haven't aligned that properly and that happens, they'll take the upper guard off, and that's really, I think, a bad idea. All right, let's show you how it's adjusted. I've now taken the saw blade off, so we just have the two guards, the lower guard and the upper guard. And if I come over here, where the shaft is, where we attach the saw blade, where that tapered flat is, okay, this is where the saw blade attaches. This is where the lower guard attaches. And you can see that they're not really connected to each other. Okay. Now when I'm moving the quill, of course, they're both moving, but they are completely separate, really, the way that they're attached here. So what I'm going to do is take off the lower guard, and I'll show you the adjustment on it. I'll also take off the upper guard just to get it out of the way. We're now looking at the back side, I would call this, of the lower guard, the side that goes towards the headstock. And to change that adjustment, very simply, you take the set screw right here, and we can just adjust that in or out. And really what that becomes is a stop that hits up against the head screw. So, when we put that in place, that screw down here is butting up against, it's really not the headstock, it's against the washer that you see here. And it should return to that same alignment every single time. So now, lower guard will be centered over the blade, which makes the upper guard centered over the blade, and Bob's your uncle. That's really all there is to it. Now, it occurred to me, while I was doing this just now, that maybe the problem the fellow was having was this. If you get this rubber washer that you see here on the wrong side over here, it would throw that off, I think. I'll have to think about that a little bit, but that may be one issue. Also, of course, make sure that the quill is seated as it should be. This set screw right here, you can see is plugged with a piece of putty or metal, and you don't want to take that off unless you have a real need to do that. They plug that on purpose, just like they do the one here up on top of the headstock. So if you do have to take that off, put it back on, just make sure that it's centered over the tapered flat, and you push it all the way back to the left as far as it'll go, and then tighten the set screw. And I'd replug it because you don't want to accidentally think you're loosening one thing and loosen another. All right, so that's it, I hope. Set screw right there is the answer. Run it in or out, and you should be good to go.